A lot of us have been there. You meet a stranger, you take an interest in them, and they don't reciprocate. Their eyes are locked on someone else, and that someone happens to be your friend. You don't want to ruin any friendships, so you back off. You then suppress your feelings and hope that one day you'll move on, or at least tolerate it just enough to no longer be a hindrance in your life. This is my story with Estelle. Technically, this would be more like 2.5, but the breakup happened post Aaron Kim. Technically, it wasn't exactly a breakup. Technically, it wasn't even a relationship, but she's earned her spot. So you guys remember my involvement with Jessica and how we met. I mentioned she was with her group of friends at that town fair. There were 4 of them to be exact. The tiny one was Estelle. In my endeavor to familiarize myself with Jessica, it meant getting to know her friends as well. During all that, I ended up getting along pretty well with Estelle. At the time, she was this tiny shrimp of a female, about 4'10". I used to be able to rest my chin on her head. She was adorable. Our first encounters were pretty awkward at first. While I was trying to break out of my shell, she remained in hers, the timid type. I spent a lot of my summer hanging out with Jessica and her friends, so I guess we all got pretty comfortable with each other. At the time, I never really considered Estelle taking an interest in me, because I always overheard her friends teasing her about some guy named Bradley. I assumed she had a crush on him. I was wrong. Well, partially. Summer ended, and my final year of high school began. Before Jessica and I got together, I remember Estelle and I talking pretty often. We weren't best friends or anything, but we were tight. However, once the shallow prick and I started dating, my interactions with Estelle lessened, and eventually became very occasional throughout the school year. I remained oblivious to her feelings. Or maybe I didn't, but chose not to make it apparent to avoid a confrontation. There was one time I was at Jessica's locker at the end of the day. Estelle was walking by, and as soon as I was in sight, she suddenly ran up to me and gave me a hug. I took it as a friendly gesture. I guess we haven't talked to each other much at the time. Jessica, on the other hand, saw it as a threat, as competition. I assured her she was my only interest, but she took further precautions cause she cray-cray. I guess she had her own talk with Estelle because soon after, Estelle and I kinda stopped talking, as if our interactions weren't scarce enough already. When Jessica and I broke up, I felt the need to distance myself from her and the others. My immature teenage logic dictated that I blamed them all for Jessica's decision to leave me. Estelle and I completely stopped talking. In fact, she got together with Bradley. They didn't last very long, but I was happy for her. I met Aaron soon after, and you all know how that turned out. I was then back in Canada, suffering in a 4-year university program. I visited Virginia multiple times over the years, but because they weren't very extensive, I only got to see a few people. And then, in the summer of 2010, I planned another visit to Virginia. By that time, I drifted a bit from several of my friends, and a lot of their schedules didn't exactly line up with my visits. Keep in mind, Aaron and I were still kinda grudgy with each other, so she wasn't exactly someone I thought about visiting. And then, I remembered Estelle. Hey, long time no talk, or see, but do you have any plans next month?